ridiculous Epstein-Israel theories.
We live at a time of increasing anti-Semitism, increasing anti-Israelism, increasing bigotry, and I hate to see prominent people like Tucker Carlson do anything to stimulate or encourage that. And I think he's, at the very least, doing that. So I would call on him to please just be a little bit more careful and understand what impact you have on people.
Yeah. Well, and further on that subject, before we talk about Dershowitz here, National Review, in a striking analysis, Tucker Carlson's rhetoric has increasingly focused on Israel and the Jewish community. This is an article from the National Review, raising concerns about anti-Semitism. Focus on Israel and the Jewish community, raising concerns about anti-Semitism. Since his departure from Fox News in 2023, Carlson has hosted controversial figures and propagated conspiracy theories, says the National Review. His interviews often question the loyalty of American Jews, suggesting they prioritize foreign conflicts over domestic issues, according to the National Review. Notably, during a debate with Senator Ted Cruz, Carlson pressed on alleged Israeli espionage without evidence, leading to accusations of obsession. Critics argue his portrayal of Israel and its supporters is alarmingly negative, likening it to historical anti-Semitic tropes. Carlson's comments have sparked outrage, prompting responses from organizations like Yad Vashem, which condemned his narratives. And as Carlson continues to gain traction with his audience, the implications of his rhetoric on public perception and discourse surrounding Israel and Jewish communities remain significant. So this article is getting a lot of attention right now, and we'll follow that up here.
Israel sold weapons to Azerbaijan to carry out the ethnic cleansing of ethnic Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh.
What?
Yep.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, it's confirmed. It's absolutely confirmed.
Israel sold weapons to Azerbaijan to kill the Christians.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
You're sure?
Yeah, anyone can look it up. And look, if I'm ever wrong, I will admit it, but this is something I've researched deeply. Where did Azerbaijan get its weapons from? There have been rumors that they also were sold weapons from Russia, but there was less confirmation on that. But in regard to Israel, it's very clear and it's documented.
Yeah, and by the way,
I sense that theme.
Anna from the Young Turks, having now stepped over not into MAGA community, being one of these individuals that is now recognizing that the Make America Great Again movement supporters of Donald Trump are not a cult, but that we're willing to challenge Trump when he's not living up to our expectations according to how he ran and what we expected of him, and allowing our movement to shape his narrative and our demands to never be let go. She's seen this, and now she and Schenk from the Young Turks, they've just been part of the pioneers of making the left know, sort of like Bill Maher, that, hey, this MAGA thing is real, and they're not just your same old Republican cult. So her coming on to Tucker Carlson for this long documentary, or this long interview. Oh, I see a bug on my wall. I got to kill it.
And I have a right to sense that theme because I'm a Christian, and I'm not going to.
She's from the Young Turks?
Yeah, she's from the Young Turks. Anyhow, that thing is sitting on the wall. I can't allow these lizards to snuck into my house. Let's go to the last one.
Which is why do we have so many guns?
No,
we're free.
No, didn't ask that.
We're free because no one can tell us we can't defend ourselves.
We all used to have guns too.
Then you guys, after the Second World War, which was like a liberation war, and you won, you lost all your freedom, and now you can't even express your political opinions, or they put you in jail. So, like, how did you win? How did you win? Is that what victory looks like? You lose all your rights, your economy gets destroyed.
You know why we won?
Bankers,
we
and all of a sudden, I won.
We won because I'm not conducting this interview in German, which I would have been.
So it's a linguistic thing.
So I'd rather not speak German and be goose-stepping around my yard in England.
But you are goose-stepping. People are arrested for praying.
We literally won our freedom.
Where's your freedom?
I'm as free as you could possibly want a human being to be.
You can't defend yourself. You can't control who comes into your country, and you can't criticize government policies, or you get arrested. So how are you free?
Well, he's right about that. He's right about that. I don't know about. I grokked this Azerbaijan buying Israeli weapons to kill Christians, and it just basically gave some jargon. And he said basically it's kind of very difficult to come up with that conclusion. I haven't studied it, so I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tucker Carlson. I call him Tucker Carlson because I think he's bought. No, I'm just kidding. Look, I think he's right though in a way. Like, again, this is the whole thing about calling him an anti-Semitic. Like, just because he has an opinion and he criticizes Israel for certain things, that doesn't necessarily make him like racist of Jewish people, right? That's not what that is. You're just very critical of a particular government and nation. That's not inherently wrong. So, anyways, that's all I can say about that.
Well,
But
Tucker,
I'm not a big fan of him.
Tucker's been in the news a lot, in particular because there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of skepticism over Israel, right? And people have been getting more and more boldness regarding their communication and skepticism of Israel. And I think that he has been really a lamp in the darkness and leading the way in that, not backing down. As people call him an anti-Semite, as we saw him talking with Ted Cruz and such. And anytime that someone insinuates that he's an anti-Semite or anti-Jewish or something, just because he's skeptical of Israel, he doubles down. And I think in that way he has been earning the respect of like the Turning Point USA type of community more and more and more. For my book, I am skeptical of people like Candace and Nick Fuentes and those who become certain that, for example, Epstein was some sort of Israel agent, right? Or certainty that, Israel and Netanyahu is an abomination and is evil. But I have to leave room for those that do the research, those that have sources that are closer to them by which they base their opinion, So I have a lot of respect for Tucker, and I think that he's holding close to his heart his sources of why he believes that Israel is as corrupt as it is, and then therefore, he has a reason to go hard at them. I feel inside of me that same desire to go very hard against Israel, and I think that Tucker Carlson's doing a very good job, but in so much as not going as far down the conspiratorial rat hole as someone like Candace Owens. But the more I listen to Candace and the more I listen to Nick Fuentes, they also are very well educated and very persuasive. It's just that I think they take more risks in terms of what rabbit holes they go down and what they expose us to. Where I think that Tucker is a little bit more on the conservative side, although leading the way in our boldness to stand up against Israel and state that, no, you're not just going to come onto the Elk Boys podcast and make all your problems go away. You're going to have to prove that who you say you are, you actually are, because we just don't believe you anymore. And I also think that he's doing a very good representation of Christianity, being so vulnerable, right? And saying who he was when he was an advocate of the Iraq War, and how he had been a Christian and a Calvinist, and still is a Calvinist, I believe he says, but yet he hadn't really read the scriptures. And he's giving us more and more illumination into his life as he's growing closer to the scriptures. I sort of put him on par with someone like Russell Brand, where they're taking us on this journey, admitting what kind of fool they were, but while they take us on their journey, I'm not losing respect for them. I'm gaining trust and I'm gaining respect and comfort. So big fan of Tucker Carlson. And I also think that he's going to be someone that when he says something and he ends up being wrong, that he has a personality now, which you expect him to admit and say that he was wrong. And he's not going to have to hide behind this pundit analysis and just keep doubling down, tripling down, anyhow. Anything else to say on that before we move to our last story?
No, that's it. Yeah, that's about it for him.
Mm-hmm. All right. Our last story, ladies and gentlemen, Drum roll, please.
Clarify, anybody who does business with Russia